Hey guys, so I wanted to pick up where I left off on my last video, which was me drinking wine by myself and crying about how lonely I am and how much I don't like where I live and how I have no friends. And so I thought I would film an update. I think that the conclusion that I came to, as I talked about in the last video, is that I'm happier on the road, that I don't want to keep renting, but I also don't want to buy a house yet. So the logical thing to do is to go back to full-time traveling, which really does excite me. But I also talked about how small my current setup was. If I were going to return to full-time travel, I would need a bigger setup. So the first step in doing that obviously would be to buy a bigger truck, because I can't even begin to go shopping for fifth wheels, which is what I ultimately want, without a vehicle that's capable of towing it. So before I get into that, I did buy a new truck. I'm really excited about it. I bought a full ton, Sierra 3500. And in the next video, I'll give you guys a tour and go through how cool this truck is. I'm like blown away by the things that this vehicle can do. So I wanted to talk about my experiences towing my current travel trailer with a half-ton truck, the good and the bad, and things that maybe I would do differently, stuff I wish that I had known before I started this. Now, before I decided to buy a travel trailer and to go to the road full time, I had actually never owned a full-size pickup truck and had never towed anything. So when I first started doing my research, there were a lot of figures that I didn't really know what they meant. You've got gross vehicle weight rating, gross combined weight rating, payload, max trailering weight. So, I kind of sifted through that, learned a little bit about it, and ultimately got a 5.3 liter V8 full-size pickup with a standard bed and a double cab, 4x4. So this truck was capable of trailering 9,200 pounds. And that's really what I paid attention to. I was like, oh, 9,200 pounds, I'll be golden. I'm just gonna get a little trailer. Now I did get a little trailer. It only weighs 3,500 pounds dry. So when you add in, the weight of my battery bank and the solar panels and all the other cargo in there, let's say it's around 5,000 pounds. So I still was like, I'm like barely even using half of what this truck is capable of. But I soon learned that there's a little bit more to it. So the number that you really want to pay attention to if you're gonna be towing is actually the gross combined weight rating. And that is the total weight that your truck can handle. That's including the weight of the truck itself, you and your passengers, any cargo that you have in the truck or in its bed, and then all the weight that you are towing behind you. That's the really important figure. But it also doesn't tell the whole story. So on my Silverado, the gross combined weight rating was 15,000 pounds. I was like, again, golden, right? But now that I have 3 years of experience under my belt towing with a half-ton truck, I think that those weight ratings are probably, like in theory, what the truck is capable of doing. If everything is perfect, you're on flat roads with the tailwind and the air pressure in your tires is perfect, okay, yes, these are the actual maximum figures that your truck is capable of. But in reality, it never works out that way. I found that my truck was fine on flats. It performed really great. The trouble was when I would get into the mountains. Now, and to be clear, the truck towed. You know, it did its job. It was a great truck, but I definitely felt the trailer behind me. And that's something like, I want to know that there's a trailer behind me, but I don't want the truck to react so strongly to it that I'm having to really compensate for that weight as I'm driving. Like, for example, when I would drive 70 west out of Denver, if you guys have ever done that, it's a long, steep climb up into the mountains. And I think that there's 4 or 5 lanes. But in the slow lane, that's where all the semis are, and they're going like 25 to 30 miles an hour with their emergency lights on, just crawling up the mountain. And then everyone else is like, pooh, flying by. So you have 2 options. Like, that's kind of it. You can get in the slow lane with the semis, or you can push your engine and try to keep up at least a little bit with the flow of the rest of the traffic. Now in the future, or in the past, I always just kind of pushed it and went for it. And then this summer I was like, you know, I don't like seeing my RPMs go up like over 4,000. And I really started to feel, and maybe it was because, you know, the truck was at that point had almost 50,000 miles on it. I was starting to feel like maybe I was stretching the transmission a little bit, you know? The shifting wasn't as great as the automatic. And again, the RPMs would just really start getting up there. So this past summer, I would like tuck in the slow lane, get behind the semis, and just crawl up the mountains. And then I would see these big like 3/4 ton and full ton trucks like just flying up the mountains. They don't even have anything behind them, but they're towing these like enormous like 42-foot fifth wheels. And I was jealous, okay? I was jealous. So in response, I got a full ton truck now. I am excited. I'm really looking forward to experiencing towing with a much more powerful vehicle, like a vehicle that's actually designed to tow. And that, I think, is that's the big difference between a half-ton truck and a 3/4 or a full ton. Half-ton is more, you know, it's great for people that are going to tow occasionally and tow, you know, light loads. But if you're going to be towing a lot, even if it's not a really heavy load, as in my case, I think a better move is to go with a vehicle that is just more equipped to tow over long distances. You know, when I'm traveling with that trailer behind me, I'd be driving for like 10, 12 hours a day, like 3 or 4 days in a row. So it was really stretching the engine. But when you're doing that with a vehicle that is made to tow, towing is in its DNA, it's a different experience. So with all of that said, if I were gonna go back and do it all over again, would I have got a half ton or got a 3/4 ton or even full ton? I know I wouldn't have gotten a full ton. I would have saw that as totally overboard. And then it's kind of like if you're going to go 3/4 ton, the price difference between 3/4 and full ton isn't really that much. So you might as well go full ton. So knowing the way my logic, I would have still gone with the half ton. It wasn't I don't regret it. You know, I learned a lot with this setup. And I also think that it was a nice kind of like introduction into RVing and towing. Because now, if I had gone from driving a Camaro to driving a full ton truck pulling a fifth wheel, that would be like quite a jump. Just going from a Camaro to a half-ton truck with a travel trailer was a big jump, you know. But now I've had 3 years of experience to kind of learn and adjust. So I feel now it won't be so like overwhelming, although it's still going to be overwhelming. And you guys will come along and watch my meltdowns, which I'm sure will happen as I'm trying to navigate gas pumps with a fifth wheel. So anyways, I was kind of sentimental about this truck, which I'm not a sentimental person typically with stuff, but it really wasn't the truck so much. It was what the truck represented, you know, and it was, there's a lot of adventure had in that vehicle. And I think that I grew a lot as a person over the time that I spent traveling with that Chevy Silverado. So I did a little like farewell tour of it so you guys can see what I was working with. It's a very basic model, you know. I didn't get any bells and whistles at all, but it did its job. It was a good truck, even though I just kind of shit talked it a little bit. It did its job. I just probably pushed it more than what it's designed to really do. Like what it's designed to really do versus what the manufacturer tells you it's capable of doing. So I'll show you that now. Oh, well, farewell, my friend. Going to do a final tour of my Silverado. So this has been a great truck. It just doesn't have enough power. But besides that, I really have no gripes. I would recommend Chevy and the Silverado 1500. Pretty basic model, but served its purpose. All right. Anyways, that is it. It's been a good truck. I'm feeling a little sentimental here, which is unusual for me. I'm not really connected, you know, like to stuff, but I am connected to memories and experiences, and this truck has taken me on some adventures. All right. We got a new one to have adventures with, though. So I ended up driving to South Carolina to buy my new truck because I was very specific about what I wanted, and this particular dealership had like just got in the exact vehicle I was looking for. And so I drove there, I bought it on Saturday, and they were gonna deliver it to me yesterday, which was Monday, because it still needed like a lot of stuff installed, and it's like new vehicle like inspection. So anyways, this guy, it was the older guy, he drove the new truck to me yesterday. He got here in the evening, and he was gonna drop off the new truck and then take my old one. So because I'm weird and a creeper, obviously, I went into my bedroom and I wanted to like film the truck like being driven away, you know, like farewell truck. So I'm in my bedroom, and I'll show you because I did film it between my blinds, like a weird person. I don't know why am I like this? Why am I like this? Like, it's my house. Why didn't I just go stand in the driveway? No, I have to be weird and go to my bedroom through the blinds. Like, I don't know. I don't understand myself, but that's what I did. So the poor guy, there's mailboxes right, like directly across the street from me. You always have to be careful not to back into the mailbox. But if you know it's there, it's not a big deal. He didn't know it was there. And so we backed into the mailbox with my truck. And oh God, he felt so bad. I felt so bad for him. The truck was fine. It had like a scratch, you know, it wasn't a big deal. The mailbox was fine too. But it was more just like, you know, when somebody does something that when they like mess up, I'm the type of person, I probably feel worse for them than they actually do themselves. Like I was like, oh God, because I know how like mortifying and probably embarrassing that would have been. So anyway, here you go. Oh no, I think he hit the mailbox. All right, so that is the end of my review of a 2017 5.3 liter V8 double cab, standard bed, Chevy Silverado for towing, let's say 5,000 pounds, as a pull behind over 3 years, my experience with it. Not bad, could have been better, and I'm really, again, excited to see. Here comes the brigade, my children. I'm really excited to see what the Sierra 3500 is capable of. It is already fun to drive, and it's so so big. A friend of mine, I told him that you know what I got, I sent him a picture of it, and he's like, it's too big for you. And I was like, no, it's perfect. It is. All right,